Hello and welcome to this video in which we're going to be talking about the 8 levers that you can pull to really turn on the flow of profits within your business. And before we start on the presentation, let's just tell you a little bit about us. I'm going to talk predominantly about me, but we are an us business of which I'm the boss. I always get the last word and it's normally yes dear. Now I didn't like school, so I left early and I joined the Royal Navy, and after 8 awesome years in the Navy I left, but I was finding it really difficult to get a job in my chosen profession, which was electronic engineer, because the economy at the time was quite rough. To give you an idea of that, the interest rates were running at around 14%. So I was left with the dilemma, what could I do? But pre-Navy I'd grown up in pubs. My dad was a really successful publican. During my time in the Navy, I'd visited lots of pubs. Alcohol was in the blood, so to speak. So we got ourselves a pub. In actual fact, we'd never known a few years, we had 6 pubs, and this was the last pub we had before we moved into restaurants and hotels. Some of you may know this is the Boathouse in Shrewsbury. This was back in the early 90s, and when we got our hands on this pub, it was turning over between £2,500 and £3,500 a week, and the fluctuation was due to the fact that it was seasonal. Within a year, we had that pub turning over up to £25,000 a week. That's a 600% increase. And what I want to show you here today is how we did it, what we did to make that increase possible. And for some of you, you may turn around and say, well, that's okay in a pub, but it won't work in my business. I can assure you it will. I see it working day in, day out in our clients' businesses. So what I want to do today is to ask you for your permission to be your coach. And I want to coach you in how to take the mystery out of making profit in a business. Now, you might not always like what a coach has to say or what he has you doing, but the coach's role is to make you as successful as you possibly can. And if you apply what I show you here today, you will be more successful. I'll guarantee it. But information on its own is not enough. It's not what you know, it's what you do with what you know. As the saying goes, to know and not to do is not to know. And as Brian Tracy put it, if information alone was always enough, then all librarians would be rich. So I want you to put aside some of the stuff that you already know, and I no doubt you know a lot, but just put that aside for a second and just consider that if you were to add to that some of the small tweaks that I'm going to show you here today, what difference would that make to the profits in your business? Now what you may find as I show you this stuff is you may start having a few Homer moments, and those are moments when you suddenly start to connect the dots. You might be thinking to yourself, why haven't I been doing that, or why did I stop doing that? The key here is that when you have one of these Homer moments, to jot it down, to capture it, because these are the ideas that you can later use to grow your business. And before I get going on the presentation, what I want you to do is to get a pen and jot down on a piece of paper, what is your number 1 growth challenge? Maybe you've got 2 or 3, but jot them down on paper, because by doing that, what you're going to do is set the filters in your brain to listen out for the most relevant points for you in this presentation. Now, because of time constraints, I'm going to have to skate across the top of some of these principles, yet if you want to know them at a deeper level, all you need to do is reach out. What I do know is people who would take their precious time to watch this type of educational video, and one thing about them is that they're good at what they do. It also tells me that you're one of the good ones and you really cared about your business, and because of that I'm guessing you really cared about your customers and you give really good service. What I also know from working with hundreds of business owners over the years is that nobody ever really taught them how to run a business. They're good at what they do, the day job, and because they used to work for somebody else and they thought they could do it themselves, they take the big decision to open their own business. So, question for you, who taught you to run a business? Did you just learn it through pure hard work? Having worked with lots of business owners who have MBAs, some of those MBAs didn't know how to run the business. What I want to show you is how to be an excellent business owner. not just someone who provides great service, because the challenge with running a business in which you're being the best at service in your industry is it's not enough. It can only take you so far. Being good at what you do will get you so far, but there is a limit. You'll hit the ceiling. Less than 4% of businesses in the UK reach £1 million. And of those, a further 10% will hit £10 million. So 0.4% of businesses will hit £10 million. And sadly, far too many businesses hit their ceiling and end up closing the doors. So what does it take to really scale a business? What really gets in the way? One of the major challenges you face as a business owner is you're really busy and you become a bit of a juggler, because not only have you got the day job to deal with, you've also got to think about things like cash flow, marketing, sales, customer service, the numbers, quoting, recruiting, training, HR, just to name just a few things. It all gets a little bit crazy. And what do we do when it starts to get a bit crazy? Well, we all work a little bit harder. We pedal a bit faster. And things appear to be going really well. And if you look at this picture here, from the inside of that wheel, you think you're climbing a ladder. But if you stop, everything comes to a grinding halt. There is an opportunity though. And when you learn to run a profitable business, you can stop that cash flow roller coaster. So at the moment, business might look like for you, you market, sell, do. Oh crap, got no pipeline. Market, sell, do. Or you're not bringing enough money in, so you end up doing all the doing, do. And when you get too busy, you haven't got time to do recruitment properly or time to do the training. That could be your version of the roller coaster. So the big opportunity here is that when you run it like a business and not like a job, is that you can win more and achieve bottom line profits that are way above your industry standard. And that's what I'm going to show you in this video. How to build your business on systems and not on sweat. Sweat builds you a job, systems build you a business. A good question to ask yourself is, are you building yourself a job or are you building yourself a business? And in particular, a business that isn't so reliant on you being there. The business works whether you're there or not. It doesn't mean that nobody runs it. It means the business works, not just the business owner. Wherever your personal goals are, the business's job is to make them possible. So who's driving your business? Are you in the driver's seat, or are you just a passenger along for the ride with no control of the destination? Are your competitors driving it? Are your customers driving it? Is the economy driving it? So what is it that's driving you? Now, you've probably heard that over 80% of businesses fail. And there can be lots of reasons for that. It could be cash, it could be lack of profit, it could be poor decisions, it could be economy, it could be that you're not delivering on your promises. But the number one reason that businesses fail is because the owner runs out of fuel. They run out of gas. All that juggling and craziness finally takes its toll. Trying to be all things to all men just doesn't work. You just burn out. Richard Branson said, if you can learn to run one business successfully, then there's no reason you can't run any number of businesses at the same time. The principles are the same. Regardless of what business you're in, the principles don't change. So here we have two cars, the Volkswagen Phaeton and the Bentley Continental GT. Two very different cars, but are built on exactly the same chassis. And it's exactly the same in businesses. All businesses are built on the same chassis. And it's what you do with that chassis that determines the performance of your business. Most businesses choose to do this with their chassis, but you can, if you choose to, build yourself a Bentley Continental GT. It's up to you. Now this is the clever guy, and the profit formula I'm going to show you here is your business chassis upon which you can take full advantage of this compound principle Einstein's talking about here. Now most owners would like to have some more customers. What do you want more customers for? So you can do more sales. But the thing is, you can be doing millions and millions of pounds in sales, have thousands and thousands of customers, but it don't mean doodly if you're not making any profit. And the other thing is that these three things are all outputs. You've got no control over them. What you have got control over, however, is the inputs that drive those outputs. So to get customers, what you need to do is generate some leads. You need to do some marketing. And that marketing will get people to raise their hand. Then you need to sell to them. And 10 people might raise their hand, 1 might buy, so you've got a conversion rate of just 10%. And they'll spend a certain amount of money with you. And all things being equal, that figure, we're here to average it out. You've also got repeat customers, but the way you market to repeat customers is different. And you would hope the conversion rate would be slightly different as well. They already know, like and trust you, so why wouldn't they buy from you again? So you'd expect that conversion rate to be higher, but different than the conversion rate to new customers. And once again, the average pound spend will be different. Those 6 things equal sales. To generate those sales, you have some cost of sale. So that means you've got a margin, right? Which, when you take it away from your sales, gives you your gross profit. Then we've got them things called overheads, which could be rent, wages, stationery costs, etc. Take those away from the gross profit, and that leaves us with the net profit. Now, can you all see this chassis in your business? I'm going to be predominantly dealing with the left-hand side of this formula. You will, however, later see how this all comes together. Now, underneath each of those blue inputs is the whole host of strategies. I'm going to share some of those with you today. But a question for you: which one of these inputs holds the most potential for you in your business? I'm going to start at the top, but I would urge you that when you apply this to your business, that you start with those 2 bottom blue boxes, the margins. Because anything you do here drops straight to the bottom line. And they also tend to be more of a systems fix, which is easier to do and faster. Generating leads costs money, and it takes time to get a result. There are a lot of lead generation strategies, probably close to 100, that you can use, but the top ones tend to be referrals. There's online, which is a big subject, which includes things like social media, your website, pay-per-click, online reviews, online ads, LinkedIn, Facebook, etc. Then you've got strategic alliances, where you have a non-competing business that deals with your target market and you can help each other complementary. Advertising speaks for itself. And then we've got networking, which is predominantly online at the moment, but there's some really great initiatives out there. Check out Move, run by Mark Waldron. And in particular, if you want to try something totally different, try out networking. Getting business is not sometimes the biggest challenge. A lot of businesses die more because of indigestion than they do starvation. They're not able to serve profitably because of all that craziness. But when it comes to marketing, a great many owners misunderstand the purpose of marketing. They think it's about sell my stuff. That's not marketing's job. Marketing's job is to get your prospect to take the next step in the buying process. You may have heard of the concept of the stadium pitch. It comes from the late great Chet Holmes. The concept is that if you were to fill a stadium with 100,000 of your ideal target market, and if you were given the opportunity to pitch to them at any point in time, so this is representative of your marketing reaching your target audience. They might not be looking for you, they might be online, they're not necessarily looking for you, but they come across your marketing, that at any point in time only 3% of them are ready to buy. 7% are open to buying, but they're not probably looking. 30% they're not even thinking about it, they may be a little bit indifferent. 30% think they're not interested, and 30% know they're not interested, they're never going to buy. The problem is that most marketing is designed to attract the top 3%. It does nothing to engage the big chunk of people between 3 and 70%, the people who could buy but not just yet. A lot of money is wasted on marketing to produce a sale when its job is to engage and influence future purchases. So the job of marketing is to engage and build relationships so that you can influence them in the future. And what you need to do is to step into their shoes and think like them and ask yourself, what are my fears, what are my concerns, what are my frustrations when dealing with my industry? And also, what do they want? What are their aspirations? And what words are going to be their hot buttons so that you can craft a message speaking in their language? A message that's going to get them to sit up and take notice. You need to sell the benefits of what you do. Apple realised that nobody was going to be interested in yet another MP3 player with X amount of storage. What people would be interested in, however, was having 1,000 songs in their pocket. So you need to craft your message on benefits, on what makes you different and separates you from your competition. Most businesses get this horribly wrong, and if you ask them what makes them different, they'll probably say something like, we give good service. Well, it's good service opposed to what? Good service is just entry-level stuff. Now, it may be true that you do give good service. It may be true that you give better quality service, a better quality of work, but when it comes to marketing, your competition are all saying that anyway. So you don't stand out. You just blend in with the noise. It means that when you're marketing to a cold audience that don't know you and the benefits of doing business with you and paying a premium for that service, so your message must be unique and relevant and hit their hot buttons to help them make a buying decision. And it must be effectively communicated. And the way you're able to tell that is by the amount of price shoppers that you attract. So what you want is your prospects and customers to feel better about and feel confident about doing business with you. And they're prepared to pay a premium for it. There are no doubt people out there who buy on price, but most don't. I'm going to emphasise that. Most people don't. They buy on value. They buy the whole experience and not just the product or service. So let's move on to conversion rate. So they've raised their hand, they've contacted you, they're interested. There's a lot of strategies to go at. Here are some I've already mentioned. Your USP, or what makes you different. Could you offer a guarantee? Can you take away the risk for them for buying from you? Testimonials or social proof go a long way for a lot of people. They don't want to go first. They want to see that someone's already trodden the path that you're asking them to take. A big win to be had for most businesses is in follow-up. Now, it's been estimated that it takes at least 7 touches to make a sale. So having a good follow-up system in place and sales scripts can go a long way to improving your conversion rate. We were working with a building company some years ago who quoted a lot of jobs but didn't win a lot of jobs. And when we dug into it, they pretty much had a 2-stage sales process, which is a bit like asking, do you want to go on a date? And then proposing on that first date. These builders did some pretty high ticket jobs, upwards of £100,000, and to get more sales they needed to have a sales process that built £100,000 relationships. And that can't happen in just 2 touches. So whatever you're selling and whatever price you're selling it at, think about your sales process and the relationship you're building. What are you doing through your process to build trust and reputation? And that could mean, from the initial call, does it make sense to have another chat? And from that chat, does it make sense to fill in a questionnaire? And from that questionnaire, does it make sense to book an appointment to meet the team? So they're only having to make one small commitment at a time, which is why you need to have a follow-up system. Follow-up systems are so important. The building company I mentioned dramatically grew their conversion rate, and that played a major part in them growing the business by over 800% in just 12 months. There's major wins to be had when you can improve your conversion rate. The next one is average pound spend, and this is about how much your customers spend with you every time they do business with you. Now, you may sell some really high ticket prices and some really low ticket prices, and you may have to measure the two separately. You need to measure because you can't improve what you don't know. Gut decisions can sometimes be good, but sometimes gut can stand for give up thinking, and that can be really expensive. Once you know what your average sale is, here's just a few strategies you can use to improve that figure. Increase your prices. Whoa, I hear you say, people just won't pay. It's not true. I've already explained the vast majority of people do not buy on price. Add value versus discounting. Whenever you discount, you damage the integrity of your brand. So what can you do? What can you add on to your product that has a high value perception from the customer but it's a low cost to you? Educate your customers on everything you do. Have checklists. The best in the business at this are McDonald's. You go into McDonald's to buy a Big Mac and you end up coming out with this lot. And that operation is performed by 17-year-olds. Another great way to raise your order value is to sack your D-type customers. You know the ones, they suck the life out of you. They only phone you to complain and they're always trying to get a discount. Now this strategy provides you with a double whammy because you'll make more money, you'll work less hours, and your life will be a lot more peaceful. What I'd also like you to consider is how do people make their buying decisions? If I just ask you, do they make them logically or emotionally? What do you think? It's been estimated that actually 20% of any buying decision is logical, 80% is emotional. So what can you do through your process to build that emotion, to build that relationship, to build that trust so that you can increase your average pound spend? Let's move on to margins. Firstly, consider what effect do you think what we've already spoken about here will have on your margins. Now there's a few more strategies you can use. Firstly, understand your numbers. You can't improve what you don't measure. Have better systems. Systems stands for saving you stress, time, energy, money, and your sanity. Now it may be, for some of you, you'll be thinking systems are going to sit squarely on my expenses line, and that's true. But what you find with systems and effective systems is they give a massive uplift to your margins. Effective delegation is a huge one, because what you're effectively doing here is buying back your precious time to focus on higher value tasks. And if you offload just a few hours of your workload to someone on a lower wage, it can have a huge effect on your margins. We may not want to employ somebody because it saves costs, but actually saving a wage can sometimes cost you a fortune. There comes a point in time when you have to bite the bullet and make the investment, and it should more than pay for itself. As a case study for knowing your numbers, I'm going to once again use the example of a builder who did an array of products, but when we actually looked in at where's the profit coming from, which are the products that are really producing the bottom line profit for him, we found that his highest margin sale was made in loft conversions. So point all the marketing towards loft conversions, and that had a huge effect on his margins and a massive effect on the bottom line. So understand your numbers, and you'll be pleasantly surprised at how much a lift this gives you in your confidence when you're in control of this type of stuff. Moving on to overheads. Renegotiate your costs. Go to your service providers. What's the worst they can say? You just never know. I challenge all my clients every year to reduce their overheads by at least 10%. 10% as a percentage of sales, by the way. I can't remember anyone who's not managed to achieve that. And the biggest cost you find in your overheads for most businesses is wages. So the question is, what type of employee should you be employing? The answer is simple, a profitable one. So remove your unprofitable staff. So systems and team are the glue that hold the whole thing together. And the bottleneck is always at the top. So if you're the business owner, you're the bottleneck in your business. And the major cause of that is that you, as the owner, have a major fear of letting go. You touch all points in the business, all points in every process. And what's key to do here is to test and measure all processes. Test and measure everything you do. Find the blocks, systemize them, assign them to somebody, and move on to the next one. And all this is done with the context of moving you out of the day-to-day running of the business. A question to always consider when you have got blocks in your business is, what's the system solution here? Because just focusing on fixing the immediate problem means that it'll just come round again. What we end up doing is band-aiding the business and never actually getting to the root cause of the problems. We end up back on the hamster wheel. So what you need to do with your team is make sure you've got the right people sitting in the right seats, and make sure they're all rowing in the same direction. They understand where the business is going and how it's going to get there. Now, if I was to ask you as a business owner, which of these 4 things are you responsible for, you're probably going to say all 4. But that's going to be a challenge. That's going to be a challenge going forward, because if you've got to hold on to everything, you become the bottleneck in the business again. You severely constrict the growth of your business, and if you try to hold on to all these things, it can tear you apart. That's where the burnout happens. Your role as a business owner is to look after your team. Your team are there to look after your customers are to look after your business, and your business's role is to look after you. Really look after you. So let's bring this all together and take another look at this profit formula. Let's start putting some numbers into it and just show you the real magic that can happen here. So let's consider a business that per year is generating 120 leads. And out of those leads, they convert 40% of them. And those 40% of people spend £1,000 each time they buy. They also have 500 present customers, and 75% of those come back and spend another £1,000 with them each year. That now gives them total sales of £423,000. They've got gross margins of 55%, which means gross profit is £232,650. They have overheads of £150,000, which leaves them with a net margin or a net profit of £82,650. Can you see how that works? So let's just say we're going to do some small tweaks in each of these areas in blue. And let's just say we're going to do a 9% increase in each area. So new leads will go from 120 to 131, We've shown you a strategy you can do to use this, but all you've got to do is get 11 more leads over the course of a year. A 9% increase in conversion rate now gives a conversion rate of 43.6. And the average pound spend goes up from £1,000 to £1,009. And because of all the improvements we've made, we're now able to retain more of our customers. So that now goes up to 545. And we improve our ability to get them to come back by just 9%, which moves that up to 81.75%, and they'll spend more money with us, just again going up to £1,009. That now means our sales are now £507,177. If we make 9% improvement in our gross margins, moving them from 55% to just 60%, we're now making a profit of £304,306. Now when it comes to overheads, let's be realistic here, and let's just say for instance that we've had to outlay some expenditure on new systems and maybe some manpower to deliver our product better. So we're going to increase that by 9% to £163,500. And that now gives us a bottom line profit of £140,806. That's over a 70% increase. Now, just consider this. If you've got a strategy, one strategy that can make a 70% increase in your profits, you'll be very lucky. Breaking it down into these 8 areas means it's more than likely going to happen. Now, in your business, some of those areas might be a little bit more difficult to shift, but you can make bigger shifts in individual areas. Which is why I asked you which one of these areas holds the biggest promise for you. And Warren Buffett said, it's not necessary to do extraordinary things to get extraordinary results. The profit formula proves that. And that's how you build a business that's cash rich, really profitable, and isn't so reliant on you. So let me ask you, what homer moments have you had? When have you found yourself going dope? And which one are you going to work on first? Now you know where you are right now, and no matter where you are or how long you've been around, I hope you've got some good info and good value from watching this video. Now if you feel at any time you're like this hamster on this wheel, spinning and spinning and spinning, but not seeming to get anywhere, or maybe you just feel that actually, you know what, business is going quite well, but I've got just a few leaks, you just know there's areas where you could be leaking profit, or maybe you're just stuck on that cash flow roller coaster. I hope you now realise it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be that hard. Growing your business doesn't have to be such a mystery, and there's a formula to it, and just a few well-defined and well-executed strategies can result in a huge shift in your business results. And this year doesn't have to be like last year or the year before. I sometimes ask business owners how long you've been in business, and they'll tell me they've been in business for 10 years. But digging deeper, they've been in business for 1 year, they just repeated it 10 times. Groundhog Day comes to mind. Stop reliving your history and stop crossing your fingers and hoping for the best. Hopium is the #1 drug of choice for a lot of business owners. I hope this works. I hope that works. And instead, remove the blocks and increase the flow. Increase the flow of leads, increase the flow of customers, increase the flow of sales, increase the flow of profits, increase the flow of cash flow. If you feel like you need any help or you've got any questions, just reach out, just get in touch. We don't bite, I promise. Thank you for watching, and good luck with it all.